Hello? That's definitely an animal. I'm shaking.
Me too.
Some encounters don't need to be paranormal to feel terrifying, only isolated, silent, and impossible to explain. A van window is struck in the middle of the night, and a solo hiker finds a screaming figure crouched near a tree. When fear appears, this suddenly would you stay calm or run? Kurt runs a YouTube channel, Snow, and Kurt, a platform focused on long-term overland travel and full-time van life through remote parts of the Americas. His videos often show self-reliance, vehicle-based living, and the unpredictable dangers that come with treating a van as home. On July 10, 2023, the couple decided to stay in Chile, expecting it to be another chapter in the journey they had been living for 4 years. After a long, tiring day behind the wheel, the couple pulled over and parked beside a quiet road, expecting only a few hours of sleep. As they rested inside their van, the calm of the night was suddenly shattered by chaos outside.
All right, guys, no doubt about it. Our scariest moment in the van. Voice is shaking. It's taking us a minute to get the camera. Oh, you all right, Kurt?
Yeah.
Middle of the night. I don't even know what time it is. It's
not that late.
It's only 10 o'clock. I don't know if y'all can see it, but we just woke up to someone banging on the window. Our 3M security film worked, but our window is shattered. We need to duct tape this. We'll be back in a minute. Definitely our scariest moment in the van. Oh, he almost got in. I'm shaking.
Me too.
Get the daylight out of him.
Oh, wow. That was scary.
All right. We gotta figure out what to do now. Clearly, first thing in the morning, I have to find a place to get a new window.
Late at night, with no warning, a heavy blow hit the side window of their van. The impact snapped them awake, their hearts pounding as they tried to understand what had happened. They looked toward the sound and saw the glass crack, thin fractures spreading quickly across the window. In that instant, the peaceful stop became a tense camping encounter. By morning, the broken glass still held to the frame, damaged but not fully fallen apart, much like their feeling of safety. The van that had carried them across borders, deserts, and mountain roads had always felt like protection, but that night it felt vulnerable. What might have happened if the glass had broken all the way through, if fear had become something worse? Those questions stayed with them long after they left. Even after it all, they kept moving. It became a reminder that even across the wide beauty of the Americas, safety can be as fragile as a pane of glass, and sometimes the distance between adventure and danger is only one strike away. Camping encounters like this leave questions that are hard to ignore. In a place that quiet, would you trust the silence or leave before something happened again? Beacon is a US-based urban exploration channel known for entering abandoned homes, underground tunnels, basements, and places that have been forgotten for years. Their videos are not purely paranormal, but the raw, unscripted format often records disturbing moments, strange sounds, unusual movement, and the real hazards of walking through decaying buildings. On January 14, 2026, the team enters an abandoned observatory somewhere in the United States. What starts as a normal urban exploration slowly becomes much more unsettling.
Billy, can I hit your wintergreen, my dude? Yeah, this place is massive. Holy shit, dude.
Oh yeah, that's something, Ryan.
We going in?
See?
I feel like we have to go in.
Alright, well, let's see.
You going first? Yeah, you got the better light, man.
One way goes up.
Keep your flashlights away from the windows, guys.
Oh yeah, so see, there's an old crawling granny up here. I'm not gonna crawl. Oh, you good? I'm not gonna crawl.
There's a lot of different entryway points. There's a lot of different ways we can get out of here if we need to. Do it.
Can I just stop for a second?
What the is that?
First said titties. That's a battery. Motherboard of some sort.
Hold the possession. 2 seconds. I'm almost done. Against the wall gun.
As they moved down into the basement levels, the explorers quickly described the space as huge and confusing. Boiler room-style areas connect with tight branching hallways, and nearly every turn looks the same. They stop often to listen and check their surroundings. Their conversation focuses on possible exits entry points, and how easily a person could become lost underground. In a place like this, every step deeper makes the building feel more like a maze.
Dude, okay.
Holy shit. What was that noise, though?
No, we're good, brother.
No, but what was that noise? Was that one of you guys?
No.
Huh?
No.
Soon, a small detail gets their attention. A hanging object nearby begins moving by itself. The group freezes, flashlights turn toward it. Cameras move closer to verify the motion. No one appears close enough to touch it. There is no obvious airflow and no simple explanation. They ask each other what happened, but no one takes responsibility. The mood changes. Casual interest turns into clear discomfort. Whether the movement was natural or not remains unknown.
What was it? That gong? What was it? I have it, dude. I've been recording for 16 minutes.
Demons and shit, they like to mock the Trinity. Alright? And we were just joking about demons and all that garbage.
The pain's almost gone. It's just on my 2 seconds now.
Not long afterward, heavy banging sounds echo from somewhere nearby. The noises seem forceful and intentional, different from the usual settling sounds of an old structure. They try to explain it, shifting metal, moving ice pressure in the building, but none of those answers fully convince them. The atmosphere changes completely. The earlier joking disappears, replaced by talk of negative energy. One member quietly starts to pray. Ice-covered surfaces and unstable floors make it harder to continue. What began as a calm visit to an abandoned observatory turns tense and uncomfortable. Strange sounds, unexplained movement, a confusing underground layout, and real dangers from ice and decay leave them with no clear answer. As the tension keeps rising, the team decides not to go farther. They leave the property. Would you have stayed longer to search for answers, or left the moment the atmosphere changed? This encounter comes from Exploring with Brad, where Brad documents outdoor trips involving camping, hiking, and exploring areas across Ontario, often linked to eerie folklore and paranormal legends. On February 19th, 2026, Brad went out alone again, this time into a forest locally associated with the legend of the Blue Man, a place long connected to strange stories and an unsettling reputation. At first, the outing felt routine. Another quiet night planned in the wilderness surrounded only by trees and winter silence. Still, from the beginning, tension seemed to follow him, a subtle uneasiness he could not shake. What was meant to be a peaceful overnight escape soon shifted into something far more disturbing, leaving Brad with the chilling feeling that in the wilderness you may never be truly alone.
But this place is basically plagued by this phenomenon known as the Blue Man. And get this party started. So let's go, guys. So we're going in. So today I got 2 Dollarama tarps today and some string. This forest has always given me nightmares as a little kid. And nobody really knows. Nobody really knows for sure if it exists, this phenomenon and stuff. It's definitely something that's worth looking into. Oh, nice. Somebody left a walking stick. Now there's that. We see some tracks here. That's definitely an animal. Or creature of some kind. Those are quite big, too. Look at that. Maybe a deer? I don't know. So that's just a person or a snowmobile or sled or something like that. I accidentally put the light in my eyes. That wasn't fun, was it? Okay, we're going to... Whew. Oh, I heard it again, but I heard like movement, like there was running. And like a bird-like creature. Like it sounds like some sort of... Like basically a raptor bird. That's what that sounded like. I heard that running though. I don't know if the camera picked it up or not. Coming from over here. Okay, I'll go down.
As he moved deeper into the forest, a sudden hissing or snarling sound cut through the silence. It sounded animal-like but unfamiliar. He sensed movement again, though nothing definite appeared on camera. Assuming it was wildlife, Brad pushed past the disturbance and continued toward his campsite. After arriving, he finished setting up his shelter, intentionally leaving a small opening at the top.
Just show you the opening because I have to go in the snow to kind of show it, but a few walls up. Obviously, if it rains, I'm out of luck because I left an opening at the top, but I kind of wanted that and stuff, so...
Once camp was ready, he gathered firewood and started a small fire. For a while, nothing unusual happened. The forest remained quiet, almost unnaturally still. Eventually, exhaustion caught up with him. He lay down inside the tent and fell asleep, leaving his spirit talker device running nearby. Later, in the middle of the night, he suddenly woke up.
We were butchered with our stomachs empty. Pieces of my body scattered. Will you help me find them?
It sounded like something was on the other side of my... It sounded like something was on the other side of my tent. That scared the hell out of me. There's something out there. Hello?
Loud knocking echoed outside the tent, followed by softer tapping. Then a sharp, piercing scream tore through the silence. The sound seemed more human than animal, and instantly brought him fully awake. Fear rose as he tried to understand what had happened. He looked outside but saw no one and nothing that could explain the scream. Staying alert, he scanned the area around his tent and noticed something strange. Small wooden egg-shaped objects placed near one corner of his campsite. The sight made him even more afraid.
And I found this outside my tent. They look like little wooden eggs. I can't stay here. There's something out there. We better go. I better go. I can't stay here. That was creepy. Alright, so I'm gonna get out of here. First I might do an explore the other side. We haven't checked it out yet, so into this aimlessly, you know. Hold on here.
Soon after, another voice echoed through the darkness with no visible source, sounding deliberate and directed toward him. Overwhelmed by anxiety, he chose to pack up and leave instead of staying any longer. As he prepared to leave, the unsettling voice returned, echoing again through the trees. While walking along the trail, he realized that a piece of wood he remembered hanging earlier was no longer there. Shortly after, he heard what sounded like someone crying and screaming for help somewhere in the forest. Acting on instinct, he moved toward the sound and called into the darkness, but no one answered. The woods remained silent and empty.
Yo, there's a break, but I remember that there was actually a piece of wood dangling. It's not there anymore. Hello? Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. I could hear somebody screaming help. Sounded like some guy. Okay, let's go. Let's go check it out. Oh man. Hello? Someone out there? This is weird.
As he continued forward, the distorted cries returned, mixing pleas with frantic screams. Isolation pressed in around him. A deep sense of dread formed as the events of the night began to connect the earlier hissing, the scream outside his tent, the deliberate knocking, and the voice that seemed to speak directly to him. Trusting that instinct, Brad ended the exploration and moved quickly along the trail, putting as much distance as possible between himself and the forest. Some might say fear can twist ordinary sounds, especially in isolation, while others may wonder if something more intentional was happening. If you had been in that forest, would you have stayed to look for answers, or left the moment the sounds began? This video was uploaded on May 1st, 2022, by a climbing documentation channel called ITCOG. The footage shows climbers moving toward the summit of Mount Everest, the tallest point on the planet, while facing some of the harshest conditions found anywhere on Earth. The video follows a group of climbers from different countries as they continue toward Everest's upper elevations. The route pushes them to their limits: severe cold, unstable ground, and altitude so high that the human body struggles to operate normally. Basic movements that would feel easy at lower elevations become slow and exhausting this far up. Some members of the group were able to reach higher camps or even the summit when conditions allowed. Others could not finish the climb. At one point, a climber carefully moving along a narrow ridge notices something below the trail. Lying still in the snow is a figure unmoving and partly buried. At that altitude, extreme cold combined with dangerously thin oxygen means even a small mistake can become fatal very quickly. The person had not survived. The footage does not stay on the moment for long, but the image is difficult to forget. Everest attracts climbers from around the world because of its scale, its challenge, and the views found nowhere else. But behind that pull is a mountain that exists far beyond normal human comfort. More than 200 bodies remain on Everest. Most will never be recovered. Every person left on that mountain was once someone who made it farther than most people ever could. Up there, the distance between reaching the summit and never returning can be painfully thin. What do you think it really takes to choose a climb like this, knowing what you know? This video was uploaded on November 13th, 2025, by a solo camping channel called UK Carrie Outdoors. The channel follows Carrie as she camps in different forests and outdoor areas, sometimes from her car and sometimes in a tent. In this video, she went back to a woodland location she had camped at before, but this time, the night felt noticeably different. Returning to a familiar place gave her some comfort and made setting up much easier. She knew the way in, knew where to pitch her tent, and had no reason to think the night would feel any different than it had before.
I've camped here before quite a few times. If I'm going out and it's like late in the day and the light's against me, if I'm heading somewhere familiar, I'm definitely going to find somewhere for the tent. I know exactly the route in, exactly where I'm heading. Tonight is just all about having such a chilled,
She put up the tent and got settled. but darkness arrived faster than she expected. She had just positioned the camera to record some footage when a noise came from somewhere in the forest.
Well, it is now 7:20, so it's less than an hour. I don't know if my camera picked that up, but that was, I don't know what that was, but that was scary. I think it's a deer or something in the woods. That was quite scary. It's really dark already, so less than an hour from when I arrived, and I've already lost daylight, so it's pretty dark. I'm out in the Banshee tonight. I haven't used this since I got it, so I'm really excited to sleep in this because I love this tent. So yeah, looking forward to spending my first night.
She told herself it was probably a deer moving through the trees and tried to continue, but the noises kept happening. Each one drew her attention back toward the tree line.
When I tell you there's some really strange noises going on in the woods tonight, and even though the rational part of your brain is saying, oh, it's the deer, it really does set your anxiety off. It's so dark. Obviously I'm relying on the head torch, but I've heard some really, really crazy noises which I've tried to pick up on camera for you guys. I'm logical about it. And there's another thing, being in the middle of the woods in the dark and hearing it. It's a totally different experience, I'm not gonna lie. Can you hear that? I mean, what is it so angry about? What are you chatting about, dude? It's crazy because whether I was here or not, those noises would be going on. It's really, I know I've said this earlier on in my video, but it's really hard to hear stuff like that and think rationally. I know what it is. I know what it is. But at the same time, it sounds so creepy. It's gone quiet now. You see, it's really hard not to overthink everything when you're out. You hear little noises that normally you probably, but when you're just sat here, look how dark it is, I'm looking into pure darkness of a woods. And then you hear noises, you're like, what was that? What was that? Constantly.
The logical explanation she kept repeating did not do much to calm the uneasy feeling building around her. She stayed in the woods until morning and left safely. Nothing dangerous happened, but the experience stayed with her. The woods had not changed between visits, but the way they felt to her had changed completely. The distance between knowing something is probably harmless and actually feeling safe is wider than most people realize. Have you ever returned to a familiar place that suddenly felt completely different after dark? This clip was shared by a TikTok user who records solo night hikes through wooded areas. On this particular trip, the forest began quietly, but that silence did not last. He was walking alone through the trees when sudden screaming cut through the night. Instead of turning back, he moved closer to the sound. Near a tree, he found where it was coming from. A figure was crouched there oddly, formed strangely human-like in shape, and still making the same disturbing screams. It did not resemble any animal he could recognize. After the footage was uploaded, viewers disagreed about what it showed. Some believed it was a person wearing a costume placed in the woods to frighten hikers. Others were not so sure. The figure's look and behavior did not fit that explanation perfectly. He did not stay to investigate. Once he understood what he was looking at, he ran. The figure never chased him. He escaped unharmed, but if whatever was there had moved toward him, the encounter could have ended very differently. No one knows whether it was a prank, an animal, or something else altogether. The harder question is why it simply stayed there and screamed. What do you think it really was? In early December, Luke from the Outdoor Gear Review climbs to the top of a wind-beaten mountain for a solo overnight camp. What feels peaceful at lower elevation becomes severe. Higher up, powerful gusts, falling temperatures, and a storm expected after dark. With daylight disappearing, he builds a stripped-down shelter knowing the night will put it under pressure. At the summit, wind cuts through the trees. Luke pitches a hybrid half-lean-to tarp positioned to block gusts and ready to change once rain begins. He breaks down his 70-liter backpack, explaining how compact gear and careful space management let him carry more than most might assume. Before dark, he cleans the ground with a makeshift forest rake, clearing leaves to lower the risk of ticks and spiders. As night settles, he cooks dinner eating reindeer stew, while telling stories, one about an odd complaint email, and another about a strange abandoned campsite in New Hampshire, where gear was found but no person was there.
The other day, I received an email from a viewer asking me if I had seen this channel, and I don't remember the name of it. I wouldn't even mention it if I did. It's so stupid. But the YouTube channel is all about, like, this person going camping or something. Every single trip ends with the tent catching on fire and everything inside of it being destroyed, and he acts like it was an accident sort of thing. That is like low-level content. It's pretty wild what people will do for money. Not that there's anything wrong with it outside of it just being wasteful, possibly stupid, but years ago, YouTube used to be a wasteland. Anything went. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I don't think so. But people would do all sorts of weird stuff, like eat out of their cat's litter box, if you know what I'm saying. Seriously. I'm pretty sure that's been put a stop to, for good reason. Unfortunately, the winds are beginning to pick back up again, so I will not be feeding this fire anymore. I certainly don't want a hot ember to fly off into the woods, start a fire and whatnot. The ground underneath is wet, but everything on top is very dry, so we better be careful, especially when there's a known fire burning out there. Speaking of which, I took a look. I can't see anything burning, but I definitely saw the smoke earlier. That smoke created one of the most beautiful sunsets I have ever seen. Absolutely incredible.
Around 9:30 p.m., the storm moves in. Rain falls steadily, wind pushes harder, and the forest becomes silent under the weather. Morning arrives covered in fog. The shelter held. Everything stayed dry, while packing Luke Spot's movement. A forest mouse has chewed into his food bag, drawn by one small mistake from the night before. Nothing major happens, but the trip shows how minor oversights can matter. In wind, rain, and isolation, even food scent becomes an invitation. If the storm had continued longer, or if the shelter had failed, what would have mattered more, the gear or the choices made before dark? Late August 2024. This footage comes from Kenny of All Trades, a YouTube channel centered on solo camping, RV life, and quiet outdoor weekends. Kenny returns to Pillsbury State Forest in central Minnesota, over 25,000 acres of public land, with his dog Toby. A few weeks earlier, Toby had suddenly frozen on a forest road here, frightened by something Kenny could not see. Tonight, Kenny chooses to return anyway. The sun is going down, and this time, the forest feels different.
I spent a couple hours this afternoon inside the camper working on the video, turned the air conditioner on, nice and cool. But Toby and I are going to go out for a little walk now. Hopefully we can find some firewood. That's the plan anyways. I did bring a leash with, just in case if we come across anybody on horseback out here. You can see a number of horse tracks. This forest has a lot of rolling hills. If you can get up on top of the hill, then the wind is keeping all of the mosquitoes away. The hard problem is when you get down into the dips and the bugs get thick.
After work, Kenny picks up supplies and fire starters, knowing he is arriving late. By the time he gets to the forest, darkness is already setting in. He makes camp on higher ground once a clear overlook now swallowed by overgrowth. Instead of a view, he finds trash, including a recent Walgreens receipt suggesting someone had been there recently. Later, Kenny and Toby take a walk and follow a narrow path. It leads them to a squatter camp, blankets, an old shovel, and scattered belongings left behind. One bottle, with an August 2024 expiration date, catches his attention. Kenny explains that because the forest sits near town, some people stay there through the summer after losing housing.
There wasn't much I could do at the time. I picked up as much as I could. I went back out there a few months ago, found that the whole thing is closed off to the public now. So sad. I came across a trail that's got to be relatively new. It wasn't here a couple of years ago. Figured we'd go figure out where it goes.
The place feels heavy and abandoned. Kenny decides not to go deeper. That night, he cooks beef stew over the fire, falling back into routine. The forest remains quiet. Before leaving the next day, Kenny goes back to the place where Toby once refused to continue. It is covered in trash again. Some viewers may see this as the reality of public land near towns. Others may focus on how Toby reacted before anything could be seen. Either way, the sign suggests something still active, not forgotten. Weeks earlier, Toby would not walk this trail. This time, the reason was obvious. The forest itself had not changed. What people left behind had. That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story. Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.